You are listening to the Eskimo Empire Podcast, a proud member of the Canadian Football Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Empire. It's the Eskimo Empire Podcast.
Reilly's in the shotgun, looking downfield, and then throws. It is up in the air to the goal line. Bounces. What a catch! What a catch by Duke Williams! Touchdown, Eskimos! Bryant Mitchell! It's going to be intercepted. Arjun Colhoun.
Mike appears to be a CFL encyclopedia.
Welcome back to the Turf District. My goodness, it's been a while since we've been here. This is the Eskimo Empire Podcast, brought to you by United Construction Company. Make sure you follow them at unitedconstruction.ca and, of course, on Twitter at UCC_Edmonton. My name is Andrew, and this is a special episode. We will have our regular episode out later this week, but as it turns out, we had a good friend driving into town this week, coming up from Calgary. Our good friend, podcaster Ryan. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. It's good to be back in the Turf District. A lot more pictures since the last time I made the trip up the highway.
I think it's been a year.
It's been at least a year or so since I came up last, and despite the results of last night's game, I was committed to coming up here before the game. I thought I'd have a chance to gloat a lot more, but as it is, there was no way I wasn't going to stop in. It's been way too long since we sat down and actually had a chat about football.
Absolutely. And I thought, you know what? Hey, let's take the opportunity to do a special episode. We haven't had a show in 3 weeks because I've been recovering. So now's the time to sit back and let's talk about Labor Day week, because we've got two games that we can kind of chat about that you and I have a personal investment in. So
yes.
I figured let's take the chance to chat about that and kind of get that out there. This has been an interesting year for us, and obviously, I mean, I've talked a lot about it on our show, how our team, its ups and downs and all those things. Coming into Labor Day, coming into the classic game. Now, I know you're always confident that your team's going to win.
Well, they now, after this week, have won 7 in a row.
Right.
So
yes.
it's a pretty...
yeah. Now,
we used to have
it used to be the other way. Back when?
Like 1960.
No. Like
1960
we used to win it a lot more often, even in the early 2000s.
I did go back. I did go back and I actually took a look at it, because Calgary's won 10 of the last 12 on Labor Day.
Yes.
Including the last 7 now.
I was at one of the good ones.
Or I guess 11 of the last 13, if you will, because I had 10 of 12 was before the game.
Right.
And now 7 in a row. But the thing that I found interesting, of course, about this whole Labor Day match is 7 is actually the longest streak any one team has won consecutive Labor Day games. Edmonton has done it once before.
Yes.
Calgary has done it now.
Yeah.
So next year, Calgary will be looking to see if they can set the record for most consecutive Labor Day victories by one team. And yeah, I mean, it was a great game. Both games were great. Okay, both games were phenomenally entertaining.
And they were polar opposites.
Yes, totally different games.
Now, do you think that's because the teams had played the week before? Because I look at the Monday game. Now, I'm completely honest in the fact that I had every expectation that we were going to get absolutely plastered in the Monday game.
Well, and most of the Eskimo fans in attendance did.
Yeah. I meant on the field, but yes, that too. I also did that, I think. Yes. I did follow through with my own plastering, but I was because I was sure that was the way that game was going to go. And yet, an incredible defensive battle between two teams and we did not obviously expect that on the Eskimo side of things, but just a very, very entertaining, very close game.
Well, and
Monday.
I think what you
And it
saw
came down to the last play.
Yeah,
like both
exactly,
of them did. But
exactly.
that one,
The fifth walk-off win, by the way,
Yeah.
in Labor Day Classic between Calgary and Edmonton. The fifth walk-off win in the series. I think Edmonton might have the 3-2 walk-off win advantage right now.
Just a bit of an edge. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, a walk-off win for the Stamps and really a great game. But I thought what really affected that game a lot, of course, was the major shift that both teams had to make offensively when they lost their star receivers.
Absolutely.
So you saw Kamar Jordan. He went down, I believe, in the first quarter. And
I thought it was second. I thought
he might have gone down in the second, but he wasn't a factor in the first.
He went after Walker.
Yeah, and
Walker went
Darrell
down,
Walker went down.
and then Kamar went down like whatever it was 6 plays later. Yeah.
And both of those guys are so integral to the recent success of the offense that when you're trying to shift everybody around and now you're not playing in a spot where you've practiced all week, you're playing in a spot where you're trying to remember the route. Yeah. You're trying to go, oh, right, I need to break this way, I need to break that way. And the rhythm of the offense is a problem. And you know, let's not forget Kamar Jordan's is a season-ending injury. Yes. And you know those kind of things on the field at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I think you get a little bit of that shell shock in the offense of, oh my God, we've already lost Eric Rogers, and now we're losing Kamar Jordan as well. And he's going to be gone for the year. And on the other side, you've got Darrell Walker, who is one of your better receivers.
Yes.
And he goes down with a long-term injury.
Yes.
So I think the adjustment period, and the Stampeders talked about it after the Grey Cup in 16. Mm-hmm. They said losing Marquay McDaniel on the first play of the game meant that it took our offense almost a full half to figure out where they were going and where they needed to be. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you lose a guy like Darrell Walker, when you lose a guy like Kamar Jordan, the offenses fall out of sync.
Right.
And so as good as the defenses were playing that day, the offenses were both somewhat out of sync.
Yes.
And so as a result, but both teams had that.
Yes.
Both teams suffered the same injury.
Yeah, so there was no excuses.
And so there was no, it was, but I think that may have been why we saw less of an offensive battle than we saw here just last night. Yeah,
and I can totally get behind that. I think as well, I do think though that both these defenses, I mean the Calgary defense, and I've said this all year, it has really blown my mind. I really did think they were going to have a harder time in that secondary, and yet they've played really, really well. So
until.
Yeah, I do know until, and I was just about to get there.
We'll talk about that. Yeah,
we'll get there. But I did think in that game that I think that game was there for either team's taking, and the Eskimos decided, well, we're just going to put the ball on the turf 3 times or throw it right to the Calgary guy instead of to the Eskimos, and.
You can do that just difference. 3 times.
You can, and then the next week, Calgary decided to return the favor, which was nice of them.
And Calgary did it in typical Calgary flavor. Whatever Edmonton does, flavor, fashion. Whatever Edmonton does, we like to do it 2 1/3 times more than that. So however good it can be in Edmonton, in Calgary it can be 2 1/3 times better.
That was nice of them. I do appreciate that.
So 7 turnovers by the Stampeders in last night's game. And
now the difference being 7.5 or 7 turnovers. The Eskimos actually capitalized on them.
31 points
was not happening before. So that was incredible.
31 points off turnovers.
Yes. And it's not often that you get, you have an offensive outburst like that, where and it's not like they were turning it over at the 10.
Well,
once.
One time they turned it over shallow.
Yes.
One time they turned it over on their own on the Eskimo 3, and the Eskimos still got down and got a touchdown off that. So you can call it 7 points off a turnover, but it was a 107-yard drive that you have to give them credit for. And one of the interceptions,
it was basically
turnover.
A punt. I mean, what
Yes.
he threw it like 40 yards and Grimes picks it off at the 20.
And doesn't go anywhere. And that was on third down too.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, there were moments, but I mean, DeVaris Daniels said after the game, he tweeted after the game, he said, "I have to be better for my teammates because not for nothing, DeVaris Daniels had the ball hit him in the hands open twice."
Yep.
In the end zone
and
on two separate occasions, and neither time did he come away with the touchdown. And really, when you end up losing by 6,
right?
That the one on the 3-yard line, it drops off his hands and just over the goal line. And Edmonton goes down to score a touchdown.
Yes.
That's a 14-point swing.
Absolutely.
And now there's nothing saying that on the ensuing kickoff, that Edmonton might not have gone down and scored a touchdown because, quite frankly...
Oh, you not on the kickoff?
No,
never happened. Okay, good. Okay. Let's not get crazy.
Like Gizmo's not streaking.
That's right. Let's not get...
let's not get crazy.
I didn't want you to... I thought you were psychotic.
But on the ensuing drive, not on the ensuing kickoff, but on the ensuing drive, there's nothing saying that Edmonton wouldn't have gone down and scored a touchdown.
Right.
They were scoring at will at that point in the game.
Right.
And getting into the end zone, not just field goals either. They were getting into the end zone at will at that point in the game. So, but you lost by 6 and you had 2 touchdowns in the end zone off your hands.
Right.
That and like the fact that this game was at all in question in the fourth quarter,
I don't understand.
Is
that.
Amazing to me.
Yeah, I don't understand that because you go into the fourth quarter with a
20-point,
almost 13-minute advantage in time of possession, and a 20-point lead, and it comes down to the last play. Now, I don't care. I mean, we can talk about all the rivalries across the CFL and probably across a lot of different leagues. It always seems that Calgary and Edmonton just find ways to make games that come to the last friggin' minute every time. Like
I will never forget. I will never forget the 2-point conversion that was returned against Edmonton in the Labor Day rematch to win the game.
Yes,
Edmonton was going for 2 to go up by 3.
Correct.
Because and they turned it over on the 2-point conversion, and Calgary ends up with a 1-point lead and wins the game.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. I will never forget that moment where a 2-point conversion turned into a turnover for a touch or for a score.
Yeah.
And initially, even TSN was confused, or wasn't TSN at the time, sort of CBC.
At the time. But that was a ways back,
But the conversation initially was they put 6 on the board.
Yeah.
And then they had to come back and go, no, wait. You can't get 6 points defensively when you can only get 2 points offensively. So
that's right.
The maximum you can get is 2 points.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will never forget that moment. And I mean, Calgary and Edmonton, you can talk about Labor Day and the Banjo Bowl like that's actually a thing. The reason why the people from those provinces hate each other and have that rivalry is because there was nothing else going on in those two cities for 20 years. So the only thing that mattered was Saskatchewan versus Winnipeg on Labor Day. But the reason that they think that that's a rivalry game is because of Calgary and Edmonton. The Labor Day Classic is Calgary and Edmonton, and you will never convince me otherwise.
Well, with Toronto Hamilton being close second because they've been around longer.
Right. They've been around longer.
They've hated each other longer.
Yeah,
that's the only.
But I don't think they've hated each other with the same fervor. I really don't. I really don't. I think Calgary and Edmonton.
Did you hear about some of the stuff going on at that Hamilton game?
Yes, I still think Calgary and Edmonton hate each other in the way that only twins can hate each other. Like it is a sibling rivalry
I agree.
Of twins because both teams have been successful recently.
Yes.
Both teams have the 1A, 1B quarterback in the CFL. And I would argue that the only difference between those two guys is style.
I would agree.
I think because I think Bo Mitchell plays a far more conservative game with his own body than Mike Reilly does. And I mean, you can point to Reilly diving for extra yards and coughing up the fumble late in the game.
Right.
First off, Why is he even in the game?
20 points up.
I can't tell you. I can't tell you going into the last 15 minutes why he's even in the game. He shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been. It should have been mop-up duty with CJ, or not CJ Gable, but whoever you had running last night.
Yeah.
But
mop-up duty. You mean, sorry, with
it should have been
Cooper.
Kevin Glenn getting snaps, turning and handing the ball off.
Right.
Kill the clock, drive as much as you can. It shouldn't be Mike Reilly flying through the air for an unnecessary first down.
Yeah.
And fumbling the ball because he's putting himself at risk. And it's funny because Eric Rogers was on our show a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And we asked him, we said, okay, he said, I will take Bo Mitchell every time, not just because he's my quarterback now, but because Bo understands that we're trying to win a Grey Cup, not a game.
Right.
And he said, Mike Reilly is trying to win the game every time. And he said, Mike puts his body on the line in a way that shows he's not trying to win the Grey Cup, he's trying to win the game. And he said that's the difference between, well, he said because Mike cares more about an individual week than the long-term success of his team because of the style he plays. Because he's willing to dive for a first down as opposed to slide for a 9-yard gain. Right? Okay. He'll dive for 12 rather than slide for 9.
Right.
And he said, and that's a fierce competitive nature, and you can't take that away from him. But he said,
it's part of the reason that he does everything else well.
Yes. Exactly. It's who he is, and it's why he's great.
Yes.
But when he said, I don't want my quarterback diving for a first down instead of sliding for close to a first down. He said, I want my quarterback healthy as often as possible. And when you're putting yourself in a position to get hit, then you're not taking the entire and it was his point, not mine.
Yes. No,
he said when you're putting yourself in a position to take the hits that Mike Reilly does, he said you're not putting the team first. He said you're putting yourself ahead of the team because you can't turn off the idea that I need to get this first down, and that this first down is critically important. He said in the game, and we talked about it afterwards more. He said in a championship game, yeah, you put everything on the line.
Absolutely.
And you're going to sell out absolutely everything you can.
Right.
He said.
So is that why Bo hasn't won as many?
But in game 8, no.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Bo's won as many as Reilly has, hasn't he? One?
Well, as Reilly, a starter.
Yeah.
As a starter.
Okay.
Yeah, Reilly just hasn't been there as often.
So different. Because he can't.
Well, when he gets there,
it'll
be totally different.
Do you want to know why he can't? because of Bo Levi Mitchell. Just saying.
You keep keep going with that. Keep going with that. Yeah, I was good. I'm just gonna sit back. Yeah,
but that's kind of no. There's no way Reilly's got more than one. He hasn't been playing since 2005.
No. He has 2 rings, but one is a backup because he got one with BC. In 2011.
Okay.
He was behind Lue.
Yeah. So backup.
That's why I said as a starter.
Yeah. I thought I meant with the Eskimos.
So no. With the Eskimos, he has one because we only have one.
He's only got the one.
Yeah. We only.
Yeah. But they both have one as a starter.
Right.
So I mean, again, the math
difference
between
is
these
one
two,
and one.
Yeah,
and not 1 and 3.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can get that.
Yeah. Okay.
But you got to get there to lose there.
That's true.
You
know?
You
do have to get there
because
first.
I'll take Bo's record in Western Finals.
Sure.
He's 3-1.
Yeah,
3-1.
It is pretty
versus 1-3.
That's very true.
So you know,
if you don't kick field goals at the end of the game, maybe. Come on, you were going to say, come
Jason
on
Moss.
I know your favorite,
Jason Moss.
your favorite guy.
What did I see? I saw something earlier this year made me chuckle. Someone said, before you fight a Gatorade tub, you should make sure you can win against a Gatorade tub.
I think that one other thing that I'll add to that comparison, though, and I think it's just I can see where that that argument is. I can totally get that. I still think that Bo Levi, out of all, and this is hard for me to give any type of credit, but I still think that he gets the ball out of the pocket the fastest of any quarterback in the CFL, and that helps him immensely because he gets that ball out of there now. Like there's very little time that he sits with the ball, and that's one thing that Reilly does do is he will sit look and look and look and look and look instead of just throw it away.
Yes.
Right. And
Yes.
so I don't want to knock Mike Reilly because the guy is, as far as
I'm
totally consider.
Yeah, right now you're choosing between steak and lobster.
Absolutely.
They're both delicious. They're both delicious. It's
Exactly.
preference at this point. It's not. It's entirely like, again, I will never
It's just
take
different
anything
style.
away from Mike Reilly.
No.
because he's an incredible quarterback. And if
Yes.
we didn't have Bo Mitchell, I would kill to have Mike
You mean
Reilly.
Cobra Kai? That's Cobra Kai Bo. That's what you mean, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
You have no idea
You know
what
what
I'm talking
you know
about,
what
do you?
Cobra Kai has?
You're not really that
You know what
young.
Cobra Kai has?
Yeah.
They have all the trophies and one
Except for-
illegal loss to Daniel. Because Daniel cheated,
No.
just like the Eskimos did
did
on one
not.
of their touchdowns.
He did not.
He did. Right in the rules at the beginning of the tournament, they say you can't kick to the face. And what does he win with?
Oh.
An illegal crane kick to the face.
After he gets his leg chopped off, which is an unfair move.
Not by Johnny in the final. Not by Johnny in the final.
Really?
In the final, Johnny sweeps the leg, which is not illegal, but dirty because his leg's already injured.
Correct.
Right? His leg was injured in the previous game, in the previous match.
Yes.
By another Cobra Kai
Kai.
member.
Exactly.
Who was dirty and was disqualified for such.
Oh, see there. Oh,
But
wow,
again-
you take the other side every time.
Not every time, not every time. But I did see a video defending, like going after Daniel LaRusso as why he's the real bully of the Karate Kid, and it is hysterical. I encourage you, if you haven't seen
goodness.
it, to get out there and watch it, because it's totally about how Daniel just instigates all this stuff over and over and over again, and they beat his
fire trucker
justifiably because he like screws with them and does all this stuff. It's really entertaining. You need to watch it.
That's like people saying, well, Thanos actually had the right idea. He's trying to save the entire universe. Really?
I don't mind the way the
Merciful.
Avengers ended.
Only you and I can sit down and start talking about quarterbacks and turn it to Karate Kid and Infinity War. Okay.
But that's because he sits there and he sits Cincinnatus on his throne at the end of the Avengers is a phenomenal, like, I wish the Marvel Universe just ended right there, and they just ended it, done. Like, I know Infinity War 2 is coming, and I know why it's coming, and it happened in that way in the comic books.
Yes.
But for me, that they built up this whole thing, and Thanos just snaps his fingers, most people fade into ash, and if you haven't seen it and you're complaining about spoilers, now that's your fault.
You should
because
see it by now.
I saw it, and I was locked in a house for 3 months. But if
I've been locked in my house for basically 8 months, and I've seen it.
You've seen it, so there's
yes. There's no excuses.
There's
at this
no
point.
excuses.
That's
But Cincinnatus just sitting there, retired from war, content with how he finished everything off. I think that would be, to me, the perfect ending of the Marvel franchise. Just now you reboot it all with new actors and new storylines and everything else. Just Thanos wins.
That's right. That's it.
Game over.
Game over. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the
back to the Cobra Kai. Yeah.
Yes. So Bo Levi gets it out so fast.
Yes.
It's always impressed me, and I think it's a huge advantage that he has, right? And I think when you look at where Mike Reilly came from with Travis Lulay, Travis plays that same way. It is, and I think Mike Reilly takes it on himself to say, I need to get this to show the team we're all in. We're all in to get this win.
Yes.
And that's basically what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
So
because every week matters.
Right. And I think the two coaches that he's had here,
Yes.
right? Both of them have always said it's only this week.
Yeah.
You need to we just need to worry about this week.
Which is
great.
insanity to me. It makes zero sense to me as a fan because I'm not.
Really?
And again, we've talked about this. We talked about this before we started recording. Calgary's mindset as a fan base, Calgary's mindset as a team, is the only thing that matters is the Grey Cup game in November.
Right.
Win it, or you've had a complete and total failure as a season.
Correct.
The only thing that matters is the Grey Cup. And so if you lose an individual game on your way to the Grey Cup, the only person you've really disappointed is me and my 18-0 prediction. Because they get upset about a loss.
Yes.
They're upset about a loss. They get sour about a loss.
Sure.
But they also got sour about a lot of their wins.
Right.
when they were 7-1 or 8-1, whatever, when they were coming in, I would go into the locker room where they'd won the game by 14 points, and to a man, the response from the players were, we did not play 60 minutes, we did not play to our best tonight, and we need to be better.
Yeah, and that
every one of us needs to be better than we are right now.
Yeah.
And that's because they're only looking at the Grey Cup. The regular season does not matter to the Calgary Stampeders right now, in my opinion. I really think the only thing that's going to matter is, do they hoist the trophy at the end of the year? Because that is all that matters. And, by the way, quickly, back to your point about quick release and Bo Mitchell and coaches.
Yes.
Dave Dickinson,
exactly,
one of the fastest release quarterbacks in the history of the league, I think, and he has instilled that in Bo.
Right. No, I agree. And I think I had a point there as you were talking
about regular season in Calgary doesn't matter.
Okay, so here's my question to you then. Because it's two slightly different philosophies, right? Whereas we just get there and then we win the Grey Cup, right? Mm-hmm. But if we don't win the Grey Cup, then the season is a failure, right?
Yep.
Do you think that then affects the team when they get to the Grey Cup game? Now, I ask that because of the past success and non-successes.
Yeah. No,
but I also in my brain as a fan, when I hear them say, "Look, the only thing that we have to worry about is winning this week," I love that, because I don't want you to be putting the pressure on of winning the Grey Cup in week 7.
Sure. Yeah.
I want you to win that game, because the more you win, the better chance you have to get to that game. And you're already in the mindset that we only have to win this week. And when they get to the Grey Cup, they only have to win that week.
I think Calgary's a little different in that respect, just because they've gotten to the big dance the last 2 years.
Sure.
And I think as a result, they understand that we need to improve week on week. We need to get better week on week, so that when the Grey Cup gets here, we'll be ready for it.
Okay.
But if along the way you lose a game here or there, does it matter?
I guess.
Does it matter? Who gives a shit
Fire trucker
that you were 15-3 if you don't win the Grey Cup?
Yes. That's true.
Who was the best team of 1989?
Yeah. No, in 1989, they wiped out that entire season. They didn't play the Grey Cup that year. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I also refuse to acknowledge the champions of that season. But you understand what I'm saying, right?
Because they're not champions. Okay.
Who gives a
Fire trucker
about 16-2 if you don't win the Grey Cup?
That's right.
The reason Calgary fans always walk around puffy chested is because we've got the only undefeated season for a Grey Cup. Right? Calgary went undefeated and won the Grey Cup.
The year before the Eskimos arrived, yes.
Sure.
It's true.
I get that Edmonton was late to the party.
True.
It's normally true that Edmonton is late to the party.
Nice spin. Nice spin. Very good.
I got plates on plates on plates.
I'm well aware. It's like we've done this before.
But that's something, right? To say you're a great regular season team means nothing. In fact, it's what's used as an insult towards Calgary.
Right now,
hey, you guys win a lot of games.
Yes.
That's an insult that the league uses now against the Calgary Stampeders. That somehow our regular season success is some sort of detriment because we don't win the Grey Cup.
Right.
Well, neither do 7 other teams every year.
Right.
And nobody's saying, hey, you guys didn't win the Grey Cup last year. Mwahaha. They only say that about Calgary because Calgary's kicked their
Fire trucker
so much over the last couple seasons.
Right.
You know, everybody, I believe in 2015, they beat every team in the league by at least 10 points at least once.
Right.
In 2016, they think they were similar. They put up 2-score wins on every team in the league routinely.
Right.
Right? Like if you take the 2 losses out of the picture, Calgary's wins. Yes. Labor Day was a 3-point win.
Yep.
Every other win has been by 9 or more points.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
They dominate. They've dominated the CFL for the last several seasons.
Right.
They just haven't been able to get it done on Grey Cup Sunday.
Yeah.
And
that's what I was asking.
Which is always great. I don't know that the pressure is more because
you don't think that? Okay. Okay.
I think that the pressure was high during the regular seasons to put together dominant seasons and prove they are who we thought they were,
Yes.
right? And to prove that, every regular season game matters, and we're going to, and I'm not saying that they're not giving their full effort.
No, of course.
I'm not saying that they're not, that they're not focused on each and every week and that they're not taking it one game at a time and all those other cliches you want to use.
Right.
I think that they absolutely are focused on that.
Yes.
But in the back of their mind, the guys that have been on this team for the last 2 or 3 years have to know that all of that doesn't matter if you don't win the Grey Cup.
Right.
Because nobody is coming back to them going, great season, guys.
Right.
They're only
That's not
coming to
gonna
them
happen.
and saying, I can't believe you guys didn't win the Grey Cup.
Yes. Very true.
Right? That's all that ever happens. That is the life of a Calgary player.
Yeah.
And so if your entire sporting life is it only matters if you win the Grey Cup,
Right.
how do you then focus on a regular season game when, especially now, you've won 9 games of your first 11?
Yeah.
You've clinched a playoff spot.
Yeah. Pretty close, yeah.
Not
I
even-
mean, it is. It's just,
There
it's
is-
not mathematically, but it pretty close is. Yeah.
There is, and I've done the numbers this week because I thought that they had.
Yeah.
There is maybe 2 or 3 different ways this schedule could work out with all the remaining games.
Yes.
Every single remaining game, there is like 2 or 3 different scenarios where the Stamps don't make the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
And that would mean
just the playoffs.
By
just
the
to
way,
just to clarify.
just the playoffs, just the playoffs. But there are 2 or 3 different ways that the Stamps don't make the playoffs. And in order for that to happen, by the way, almost every team in the league has to finish 9-9. Like in order for that to work, order for it to work, every team has to finish 9-9 for Calgary not to make the playoffs. Because if they were to lose their remaining games and finish 9-9, they would have lost the season series to everybody at that point.
Such a pipe dream when I hear you say that. That sounds so nice.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Calgary could lose every game the rest of the way, and they probably still make the playoffs.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Montreal's got 8 losses, and Toronto has 8 losses.
Right.
So in order for Montreal or Toronto, because one of the two of them would have to pass, would have to be 9 or better.
Yes.
So one of those teams has to go 6-1 down the stretch.
Yeah.
They play each other twice.
So, yeah.
So they have to split those games, and then the other team that's going 6-1 has to win every single other game.
Right. Yes.
Or Calgary makes the playoffs. Like this
Right.
this is how it sources out. The way that, so I mean, like, again, the odds are Calgary's going to be in the dance.
Yes.
And so now how do you do anything but stay healthy between now and the playoffs?
Right.
Do you give a crap if you win or lose because you know you're going to have to beat 2 or 3 teams to get to, and I know
The
they want the
playoffs.
bye.
Yeah,
I know they
of
want the
course.
bye.
Of course,
Right?
yeah.
You want the bye week, of course.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to win 2 or 3 games in November to win a championship. That's
Right.
it. That's where the Stamp season is right now. The Eskimos are 7-4, 7-5.
7-5 now.
7-5.
Yep.
It's possible now with BC's win and getting up
Absolutely.
that it's possible that BC catches them, right? BC's 4-6.
And Winnipeg could catch them too.
They're 4-6.
mean,
Well,
they
but
could.
I think again, because of where Toronto and Montreal are,
Yes.
BC and Winnipeg both have to catch them. It's
Oh,
not
right.
enough.
Yes.
It's not enough for one of them to catch them. Both of them
Both
do.
of them. Right. Yes.
Right? Both
Yeah.
of them have to pass. So are the Eskimos going to finish 5th in the West? Unlikely, but possible.
It's very. It's
right
possible.
now,
Yeah.
I wouldn't look at Calgary and say it's possible they're going to finish 5th in the West.
Right. Yeah.
Because BC's already 5 games behind and they have 8 games left.
Yes. Yeah.
BC has to go 5-3 and Calgary has to go winless.
And don't they play?
They play each other twice.
Twice. Yeah.
But again, that would be part of that,
Yeah,
right?
that'd
If
be
BC
totally.
goes, BC goes 5-3, and again, I spent an inordinate amount of time. I'm talking like 6 or 7 hours over the last week going over every schedule permutation.
Wow.
So that way I could see if it was possible that Calgary misses the playoffs. And I'm telling you, there's 2. There's that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Because in order for every team to get to 9-9 or better, Saskatchewan can't win more than 2 games. Edmonton can't win more than 2 games. Because if they win more than 2 games,
Then
the
the
other
whole
teams
thing
fall
is-
off. And
that's
the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah.
Toronto has to go 6-1. Montreal has to go 1-6.
Yeah.
Which is very likely.
Well, now Pipkin has shown.
Pipkin, yes.
Yeah.
Or as Sheldon called him.
What? Oh my God.
Sheldon wasn't aware of who he was, and he and I were doing a show together, which the file got corrupted, and so I can't recover it.
Oh no.
But when I mentioned that Antonio Pipkin was starting,
Yes.
he said, "Oh, a good Irish lad." And I said, "What? Antonio?" And he said, "Oh, I thought you said Anthony O'Pipkin." So
Anthony O'Pipkin.
yeah,
We might call him that from now
Anthony
on.
O'Pipkin, the good Irish lad from Italy. But
Thank you, Sheldon.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like, in order for all that to happen, so again, you're now in a situation where you've been told for the last 3 years, because after 14, they lost the West Final in 15,
Right, yeah.
due to injury.
Due to a better team.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. We came up the highway with no offensive linemen.
Oh.
Our D
You're
linemen
going to
played
complain
Iron
to
Man.
me about injuries? Seriously?
Okay, it's a little difficult.
Yeah,
It's a little difficult
I think
because
you should just
you've
stop.
been paralyzed for a while, so
Can
I
you
can't
just-
talk to you about injuries.
I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about my team. Have you seen our
Blah,
6-game
blah,
injured list the
blah. Who
last 2
gives a
years?
crap?
See, exactly. Who gives a crap?
You
So
wanna
they
know
came
why?
up and they
You
lost
wanna know why?
to a better team
Yeah.
in a much more electric environment.
You want to know
Yes,
why
I agree.
I don't care about
Just
your
agree.
6-game injured list? Because none of them are of the quality of the Stampeders that were lost that day.
Oh, here we go.
You're losing a receiver here or there.
Uh-huh.
You can find another receiver.
Sure. Keep going.
Calgary lost their fifth backup tackle.
Yeah.
They lost 6 D linemen that week.
Yeah, I know.
So we were on D linemen 7 and 8, and they were O linemen that were converted. What was happening there was a travesty, and you still almost lost that game. But anyway,
we had Eddie Steele flip over to be an offensive lineman that same year.
Let's not play.
Yeah,
I
understand that. If you just I just
Recidivism.
want you to admit that in that atmosphere, because let me tell you,
that
you
game
were at
was
that
crazy.
game.
I was there.
Yeah,
I was there.
It was one of the most incredible CFL crowds both teams.
It was
unreal.
spectacular. It was loud
unreal.
for both teams.
It was unreal.
Calgary really brought the noise, I thought, in that game. Calgary fans had come up the highway, and everybody had a cowbell, and we brought the noise come the right time. And I think Calgary still had a shot at winning that game late.
Oh, sure.
It wasn't decided until late.
Because that's what these teams do.
Yeah,
very rarely is it more than a score apart.
But yeah, I think so. You win the Grey Cup in 14 with Bo as your starter as a rookie.
Yeah.
Come in 15, you lose the West Final. You can, Stamps fans can easily blame that on injury. Oh,
Sure.
well, we didn't have these guys. We didn't have
Which
those
you just
guys.
tried to do. I get
which I successfully did. Then you look at 16 and 17. You got there, but you didn't close.
Right.
So again, the mentality is Grey Cup or nothing.
Right.
Because you've got one of the greatest quarterbacks in the CFL.
Right.
And who is slowly climbing the ranks to become one of the greats of all time. Because, he's in the top 25 all-time passing.
Yes.
He's got the best record ever, the best winning percentage of any quarterback ever.
Right.
He's got, and his records are piling up. When you look at it right now, the next game Mike Reilly loses this season, should he lose a game this season, Mike Reilly will have lost more games in the last 2 years than Bo Mitchell has as a starter.
Right.
In 4 seasons.
Yes.
So, or in 5 seasons, because this is 5th year as a starter.
Right.
So now you've got, and when you think about, Mike Reilly is one of the best quarterbacks in the CFL.
Yes.
And a lot of people will anoint him the best quarterback in the CFL.
Right.
And his, Mike always puts the team on his back and he wills them to win.
Right.
Well, sure, I guess. As a Calgary fan, when you hear that kind of thing, it seems very disingenuous because it's like, do you not understand that you can win a game before the fourth quarter? That's when the Stamps win their games. They win their games in the first half. They win their games before the fourth quarter. And Bo Mitchell doesn't have a lot of comeback wins. I mean, he has a number of them.
Right.
But
not
Bo
the same
doesn't have a
amount.
lot of comeback wins in the fourth quarter because he's ahead in the fourth quarter. It's the reason you don't have a comeback win for Bo Mitchell is because he doesn't have to come back. He gets his work done early. It's a difficult position to be in to have Mike Reilly. Like, Mike Reilly is the absolute best in the CFL in one category, undisputedly.
Yes.
And that's
the post-game interview.
Haberdashery support. The man will support a haberdashery more than anything else. And for fans in Edmonton, the word haberdashery has many syllables.
Yes.
So let me explain to you that is a hat seller.
It is. Yes. I appreciate that. God.
As I go full douche. But I like...
Someone's saying just now.
Yeah, I know. But again, the difference between the two. I mean, it's only preference.
Yes,
it's only preference, and quite frankly, I think Eskimo fans prefer Mike Reilly because they have him.
Yes,
I think Calgary fans prefer Bo Mitchell because we have him.
I totally
and I
agree.
think if you were to make that trade tomorrow, both franchises would set jersey record sales on that day.
Oh, probably.
I think if you were to trade Bo and Reilly 1-for-1 across the table,
yes,
meet in Red Deer and get on each other's bus.
Oh man,
and go in the other direction. I think that both teams would set jersey record sales that day.
Probably.
Like single day jersey record sales.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, I have nothing against Mike Reilly. He seems like he seems like a great guy.
He's an amazing guy.
I really do.
Yeah.
I think
I've never had a chance to meet Bo, and I don't know what it would be like to chat with him.
He's awesome.
I think he's quiet.
Not really. We had him on the show once.
I know you did.
We had him on the show once.
I couldn't get a vibe.
Actually, and I haven't necessarily talked about this. I think I might have spoken about it on our show once. He stopped me earlier this year because every year I ask. Yes. Every year I ask because if I don't ask, I'm not doing my job.
Then if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So every year I ask, and every year we hum and haw, and we hum and haw, and we hum and haw, and it hasn't happened since 14.
Right.
So this year, early in the season, I walked by Bo and I was like, "Hey man, great game." And he goes, "Listen, I get it now." He said, "I came on the show in 14, we won. I have avoided you for the last 3 seasons. We will make this happen this year. Okay. I'm coming back on the show because I'm not having this anymore." So I don't know if he's counting our show as some sort of karma, but we're expecting Bo on the show at some point this year. And I think really he's always really gracious. He's always got tons of time for everybody. Yeah. He's everything you want your pro athlete to be.
Right.
And never mind, and I'm sure Mike has a lot of charitable things he does up here. Yeah. Bo has his Mitchell Miracle Day. Yeah. Where it's, hey, everybody give us as many gift cards as you can over the course of a couple weeks before Christmas, and then they adopt a couple families and take them out for just a blowout day where it's, hey, here's thousands of dollars to make your Christmas better, and let's go shopping together, and we'll get you a bunch of stuff that you wouldn't have otherwise, and it'll be great. And really kind of, he has those kind of initiatives. He works with a lot of charities. Bo almost never says no to anybody. So I think Calgary and the CFL are blessed to have him here, just like I assume Mike does up here. There's never been a bad word that I've heard about Mike Reilly.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody go, actually, I've met the guy and he's a total dick.
Yeah.
No. The only reason I hate Mike Reilly is because he plays for Edmonton.
Absolutely.
Everything out, the rest of it. I love Mike Reilly. Put Mike Reilly in a Ticats uniform, or have kept James Franklin and sent Mike Reilly over to Toronto.
I love Franklin, but I know
you do.
That's a good play.
That's
though.
the only reason I went.
He tried to play on my strings. I see that. Yeah, okay.
But put Mike Reilly in the Eastern Conference, and he's one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
I think and you've got to love the guy for what he does on the field, because you're right. I think more than anything, Mike Reilly plays this game with his heart.
Yes.
And I would suggest that more than anything, Bo Mitchell plays the game with his head. And right. I think those are two very different styles. And
I can see that.
And again, not to say Bo doesn't care, because I think Bo hates losing more than anybody.
Yeah.
And I think Bo will put the team on his shoulders when he needs to and go down and get a win. And we saw it in that Labor Day game.
Oh, yeah.
They came down, they needed one more drive to get the field goal to win, and Bo methodically moved the team down the field and got it done.
Yeah.
What you don't see is the fist pumping and the chest thumping and all of that other demonstrative stuff that makes you think, oh, Bo's just an assassin.
Right.
He's a sniper. He just comes out cold, cool, calm, collected, and just gets the job done.
Right.
Reilly gets the job done in a way that makes you feel better. And I think it's a really interesting thing to have.
Yeah.
Because I think Mike, when you watch Mike Reilly diving for the first down, as a fan, you get up with a big old
fire trucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get up and you feel that. You feel that, right?
Yeah.
It's that emotion.
Yeah.
Right? And with Bo, his
Fire trucker.
play
Yeah.
is a catch from somebody else.
Right.
Right? Because he has to put the ball there.
Yeah.
He has to put the ball there. But Bo doesn't run. So when you see the success of the play, it's a team success
Right.
versus an individual success. So those milestones pile up, but he shares the credit on the 45-yard touchdown with somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? Reilly runs. Reilly had 6 touchdowns, 3 passing, 3 rushing.
Yeah, 3.
The other night?
Yes. Yeah.
And Reilly's diving Reilly's right in there on the one, taking the hits to score.
Yeah.
Right? Bo is on the sidelines.
Right.
And, the
Art
backup.
Knuckles going in, yeah.
Well, I mean, not this year, because Calgary scores from 30 yards out. That's what they've done all season.
Right.
Somebody came at me a little while ago, and they were like, Calgary's red zone percentage, blah, blah, blah. And I said, Calgary has scored a plus 30-yard touchdown in every single game at least once this year.
Right.
And sometimes 2 or 3 times. So, their red zone percentage isn't great, but that's because they're scoring from 30 yards out.
Right.
And I said, a 21-yard touchdown is still a touchdown, even though it doesn't count as a red zone success.
Well, and you know what, though? We have a high red zone percentage, but a lot of them are surprising.
Mike Reilly has 11 one-yard touchdowns.
Exactly. He just leans it in. So how many times are we stopped at the one?
Right.
Like, holy crap. Yeah. And that's usually from 40 yards out.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Okay,
he throws the ball 39 yards when he needs 41, and Bo throws it 42 yards when he needs 41.
All right.
Well, but that's not that. And again, that's not a condemnation of Reilly.
No.
He heaves the ball downfield, and his receivers just don't get that extra one step. And Calgary's receivers have gotten that extra one step.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did a analysis early in the year about Calgary and trailing, and before the game against Saskatchewan, Calgary had only trailed for 18 minutes all season. And one of those was a whole quarter against Hamilton in the game in the opener.
Right.
Because when Calgary had trailed, they had always scored. As soon as anybody had taken a lead on Calgary, they had scored on the next drive almost every time.
Okay.
In order to regain the lead. And that was happening last night. It was punch, counter punch for the first 3 quarters, except Calgary just kept giving the ball away. Mm-hmm. And then once the 4th quarter hit, they were firing in.
Yeah.
And, if Suzanne Summers was a receivers coach, maybe we're having a different conversation, because that thigh master catch on Breskison, if he had just squeezed his thighs, then it would have been a completed catch, and then Calgary wins on the convert from Paredes on a second straight week, which wouldn't have happened since Sean White had blown 2 wins for you guys a couple of years ago that a kicker would have decided on the last play in the Labor Day week.
Really?
Well, you did trade him for Ricky Ray, so that's something.
No, we did not.
It wasn't Sean White.
No, that was
traded
Grant Shaw.
But he was the one that coughed it up. It wasn't Sean White.
Okay.
It was Grant Shaw that missed.
What are you talking about? Sean White's always been...
Yeah, no, it was Grant Shaw that missed the 2 field goals to win the games in successive weeks.
Yeah. Thanks for that. That's great.
No problem.
I love chatting
Nothing
with you.
like friendship.
Yeah, exactly.
On this spepisode.
Oh my god! Hey, I appreciate you using that word. The spepisodes.
Spepisodes.
Hey there, this is your co-host Kenny Stafford with the Eskimo Empire Podcast. Hope you guys enjoy listening.
The Eskimo Empire podcast is brought to you by United Construction Company. As a full-service commercial general contractor, United Construction Company serves large and small-scale commercial, light industrial, and multifamily residential construction projects across Western Canada. UCC is a relationship-focused builder, forming a trust and respect that is at the forefront of their commitment to quality, value, and integrity. Visit their website at unitedconstruction.ca to find out more and support them as they support the Empire.
Get loud for me. Get loud for me. Get loud for me. Hands in the crowd, we tearing it down.
You can join the Empire online.
Find us at eskempire.ca.
Check out all the new blogs and then follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
For more history, follow at Esks History on Twitter.
And even more of my pics on Esk Empire Photo.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to help the pod grow. Thanks again for listening. Let's get back to the show. Let's talk about a couple other things just before we wrap up here, because a couple of things that across the league that have kind of come out that pertain to us anyway. How do you feel about Markway McDaniel signing in Hamilton?
What?
You didn't hear this?
I've been in Phoenix and Vegas for the last 2 weeks.
This happened.
When did this
was
happen?
this morning.
So I haven't. I'm going out of town again this week.
Really
so
appreciate that.
I spent
got
the entire
that.
day with my son.
That specific response was perfect. But
wow,
I will find out. But I am pretty sure it was this morning that he signed in Hamilton.
Nothing but the best of luck to Markway McDaniel. That guy is a friend of our show. He did the show several times while he was here with the Stampeders.
Yeah, I know he was.
And the fact that he was unemployed it was incredibly shocking to me. That nobody wanted Markway McDaniel after what he had done here in Calgary. He proved himself to be absolutely a go-to target when you had to have a first down.
Absolutely, and that's what surprised me, actually.
He was Bo Mitchell's security blanket for his first 3 seasons. So that is spectacular news. I couldn't be happier for Markway McDaniel. And knowing that he's in Hamilton, if Edmonton's not coming out of the East, we're probably going to be playing Hamilton.
God.
Well, no, hold on. If Edmonton doesn't come out of the East, we're probably playing Hamilton in the Grey Cup.
God, okay, yeah.
Because I think Hamilton is the best team in the East, and I think Hamilton beats either Saskatchewan or Winnipeg.
Right.
So I'm not suggesting that the Eskimos are falling to fourth. I'm saying that however the season shakes out, the only way that I think if we're not playing Edmonton in the Grey Cup, we're playing Hamilton.
Okay.
And again, that's on the assumption that I make every year that we're going to the Grey Cup.
That's right. Okay, so because my thing with that is as I saw that news, I was like, well, you have Tasker, who is that second down guy, and that's what Markway has been known for. So
Wait,
it was a little
who's Markway's dad?
I
don't know.
I have no idea. Yeah. Do you know who Tasker's dad is?
You know what? I've never heard.
No, me either.
I've never heard who Tasker's dad is.
Nope, me either. So I mean, it's we need to get research on both of them. Obviously.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
We do.
Yeah.
I think with Quay, you have one of the best route runners in the CFL.
Mm-hmm.
From a DB's perspective, we've always been told that he is the most deceiving route runner in the CFL. They said nobody masks his route better than Markway McDaniel.
Okay.
They said going against him in practice every single day meant that there was not a receiver that could fool them, because Markway would fool them all week.
Oh, okay.
And they learned those lessons, and nobody fooled them on their routes.
Okay.
So I think with Markway, you get one of the best route runners, one of the surest sets of hands, and a dressing room leader as well. Markway McDaniel is a phenomenal football player, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats are much better right now than they were at this time last night.
All right. Well, that's a great assessment. Yeah. I wasn't sure how you'd feel after the whole comments after the Grey Cup last year. Because I know that was heat of the moment, and I understand that. And you and I talked about that intensely after the game.
Yep.
And I just so everybody gets kind of a pull the curtain back just a wee bit. After that game, you and I met up, and we ended up over with the football writers, and I got to see you in that moment, and I've been there. I've been there where your team loses, and I, we're sitting around the table like, what's next, right? We're sitting with Mark Steven, and we're like, what's next, right? And we've had that conversation, and we were there as that story kind of broke.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure then, of course, he doesn't come back to the Stamps and now signing with Hamilton. I wasn't sure where you might land on that.
Here's what I know. I've spoken to Kamar Jordan about it.
Yeah.
And I spoke to Markway about it because Markway announced his retirement earlier this year. And I talked to him that day. And I was actually the one that broke that story on 3 Down Nation.
Right.
I had it before anybody else publicly.
Right.
Anyway, the other people knew, but I was able to break that story because somebody got wind of it. They told me. I checked with Markway, and he said, "Yeah, this is happening. The Stamps are releasing me."
Yeah.
And so we put that out there. The thing is, he wasn't wrong. And Kamar Jordan said after the fact, he wasn't wrong.
Right.
Kamar Jordan, and even in his Instagram post this week, referenced that play in the Grey Cup.
Right.
And he said all of the fans who reached out to me after the Grey Cup.
Yeah.
It just goes against what he said at that time.
Yes.
Went against the stereotypical football response.
Correct.
Right?
Oh, absolutely it did.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And it was really, I think, a drawback of the curtain as to what was being said in the room. Because I was standing outside the room as that happened, right? I was standing outside the room waiting to go in, and I heard what guys were saying to one another. The room was generally quiet, but there was arguments going on.
Yeah.
As happens, of course.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you have that kind of disappointment in your life with anybody around there can be a heated conversation.
Sure.
What there isn't is a microphone in front of your face as that heated conversation is happening.
Yeah.
So you take the emotions of the whole season. And again, let's not forget that these guys work for an entire calendar year just to get to this day and have a chance at a championship. To have the legacy for an older player like Markway McDaniel is, to have that legacy torn away from you.
Right.
Right? To have that legacy torn away from you in a game where you were injured.
Yes.
Right? Like, all of that coming together, or he wasn't injured against Toronto, he was injured against Ottawa.
Yeah.
But back to back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he gets injured against Ottawa.
Yeah.
And Calgary's offense takes a full half to recover.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, the defense was coughing up points. So as a result, they don't win the Grey Cup.
Yes.
You come back the next year, you've got a dominant performance, and then 2 freak 100+ yard plays in one game. Happen. Yeah. The longest 2 plays in Grey Cup history happened on the same day, and they both went for touchdowns against the Stampeders that day. You take the 100-yard pass away from Ricky Ray, and he had an awful day. Right? So the Calgary defense played well. The Calgary offense played well. 2 plays went wrong that day, and it cost the Stampeders 14 points in a Grey Cup championship.
Right.
So to have what is I'm going to walk out of here as a champion, and I'm going to, and again, that was with 5 minutes to go? Because I left before the Kamar Jordan play.
Yes, yeah.
So about 5 minutes to go?
6 minutes.
Yeah.
6 minutes.
So within the last 5 minutes of the game, that happens, and all of a sudden the wheels fall off, and you find yourself without a championship.
Yeah.
The emotion is going to be pretty raw.
Yeah.
And so I don't mind the idea that he said what he said. I agreed with what he said. Kamar Jordan agreed with what he said.
Right.
It just went against typical football etiquette.
I went against the whole idea of
team sport.
You stick up for your team sport. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And
but you know what?
I think that's where a lot of people
even what he said
went.
wasn't that offside. Right? It was just offside in the, he was a yard offside. He wasn't 10 yards offside.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
He said something that is not typically said.
Right. Yeah.
That's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And so when he didn't come back, I texted him the day they were cutting him, and I said, this sucks. Man, you are a great player for this team. You've been a great player for this franchise. And whatever happens, I hope nothing but the best for you because you did incredibly well by us as fans.
Right.
And no matter what happens, I'm not going to take anything away from that. And you have one interview where you say something boneheaded. I mean, go back. Nick Lewis is much beloved now.
Oh, yeah.
Go back.
Yeah, well, I know.
And I love Nick. I love Nick to death.
Yeah.
He said some things that raised some eyebrows over the years.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, I was known for it.
Yeah. He was known for the guy that would say something that would make the reporters salivate.
Yeah,
Because they couldn't wait to write about it.
Yeah.
So, and it's unfortunate because now I am on the 3-down staff and I'm new to the 3-down staff. I saw Quay after training camp because he was in Calgary as a guest receivers coach.
Yeah.
And he said, no, I don't want to, I'm not messing with 3-down because of everything that happened.
Okay.
And I feel kind of shitty about that because I wasn't on the staff at the time.
Right.
And I, my coverage hasn't exactly been critical of the Stampeders so far this year.
No
but
kidding.
again, there's not been much to criticize. Well, I mean, they had
true.
one
They did
loss
have-
until
yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
But I think with Mark Way, I'm glad he's got a job. I'm glad, frankly, it's in Hamilton because I think he felt like when he left Hamilton, he didn't leave there. He didn't feel like he had given the fans everything they could get from him while he was there. So I think that's a big deal too for him to go back.
Yeah.
And be there for Hamilton fans. I think Hamilton's got an excellent shot of getting to and winning the Grey Cup this season.
I agree.
And so, for Markway's sake, I hope something happens for him. If Calgary can't win the Grey Cup this year, or it isn't there, if Calgary's not there this year and Hamilton is, I will very clearly be going down hoping Markway gets a ring.
Right.
And hoping that Quay gets his due. I think Markway McDaniel's awesome. And I'm glad to hear that he signed.
I totally agree with you, especially if they end up playing Saskatchewan. That's the way I'm going to totally go with that.
If they end up playing Saskatchewan, things have gone terribly wrong for both of us, Andrew.
It's very true.
Because
very wrong.
Yeah, very wrong.
Very wrong.
Because I'm not sure whether or not Chris Jones will be able to squeeze a diversity of strength shirt over a parka come playoff time. But
true.
He's going to have to go through Calgary and Edmonton.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's going to be tough. Well, Edmonton will have to go through Saskatchewan and then Calgary.
No, I think it's the other way around. Okay, I'm glad.
Well, of course you think that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm supposed to.
You're behind him now.
You
just saying.
Thanks. Thanks for that.
Just saying.
Yeah, well, that'll change. It's all good.
Maybe they're taking the Jackie Moon approach.
Maybe.
You
never know.
Fourth place. Fourth place.
Nice.
Fourth place. If you don't catch that reference,
maybe
that's on you because Semi-Pro is an amazing movie.
Maybe they want that because then, they want to set up Calgary and Edmonton in Edmonton.
I did say,
but I don't want us coming here in the
as
visiting.
the visitors.
No, this is our house.
That would be so great.
No, it would be so wrong.
I see. It's funny. I mentioned the Jackie Moon reference earlier. I don't know, about a week or two ago, and someone went, "No, it was Jackie Parker and Warren Moon," and I'm like, "No, you don't." Okay, well, you just don't get it, and that's fine.
No,
that's fine. But the Jackie Moon reference is solid, especially when you're talking about the CFL's West Division, because
everybody wants
Jackie Moon. If we can't win the West, if we can't host the West Final, it's fourth place for the win.
That's right.
That's here in this league. That's great news, man. I'm really happy I heard that. And like I said, I was coaching football this morning. And then I took my boy to see Christopher Robin.
Nice.
Which was a great movie and full of a nice message where they told me that I shouldn't be leaving my son behind to go for work as I dropped him off at home to drive up here for work. So that was
it's a tearful drive.
A great moment. In parenting history.
Wonderful.
Oh, spend time with your kids? Yeah, I'll do that on Tuesday.
Okay, yeah, we watched a movie. He's good.
We just spent time together.
I don't know what else you need.
Clearly.
Cheapers. Yeah.
Good little movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it.
I had him sit with me to watch the NFL game today. Does that count? I mean,
I did not see my Cowboys lose today. I turned it
I watched
on.
my Vikings win. It was lovely.
I turned it on for like 6 seconds. And in that 6 seconds, Dak fumbled on the 10-yard line with less than 2 minutes to go. So that was the end of that.
Well, sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. Again, week 1 doesn't matter. The Super Bowl matters.
Nice. Well, Ryan, it is always awesome to have you up here to chat football. And we could go on for hours, I'm quite sure. But
we did before we even hit record.
Before I know, that's what we're supposed to do. Now, I do want to ask you, though, just very briefly, you obviously had the Big Brother experience.
Yes.
We all supported you. We loved watching you in there. I told you before we started recording, I thought the best part of that is that they edited out to show who you really are. And as much as I love our banter and I love the villain, at the heart of it, you're a good dude. And I thought that really came through, and I thought you should have done a lot better. But
I
of course,
did too.
You were in a lot of you were with a lot of people who just don't understand what good is. So that becomes part of the game. And I'm hoping that they're nice outside of it. I don't.
Yeah,
know,
we're in one giant Snapchat group. Though
Okay.
all the house guests are in one big group, and everybody talks regular. It's funny, you know. I tell people like this. Let's not forget that what we're doing here is a show.
Yes,
of
course.
And so yeah, I will
Fire trucker.
talk like this if you see me in person too, because I get a kick out of it and I think it's fun
and it's perfect.
Yeah, and awesome. I want you to throw it back at me too. Like yes. I want that dialogue because I know it's not coming from a place of malice, and I know that even though we are diametrically opposed with the teams we cheer for, yes. we are both equally passionate about the same thing.
Absolutely.
We're just equally passionate about a different kind of the same thing. And so for me, the
fire trucker
talk is part of that. Coming at and doing all of this stuff is what it's supposed to be. So I appreciate hearing that you think that the real Ryan was on Big Brother. I haven't watched it.
Oh,
I haven't watched it.
Okay.
So I don't know what made the show and what didn't.
Yes.
But I know that I lived my authentic self in the house.
Yes.
And what I tell people all the time is when they say, oh, they're getting a good edit or they got a bad edit.
Right.
They can only edit those things together if you've done those things.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're not a dick in the house, they can't make you look like one.
Right.
Because you're not one. And I think to me, that rang true. And it feels that way because of things like you've said and the people I've met since I've left the house. Mm-hmm. Everybody who comes up to me says kind of the same thing is, oh, yeah, we knew that was you all the time.
Yeah.
Everything we saw was the you that we know.
Yeah.
And so if you saw me on Big Brother and you're trying to compare and contrast that with what you hear on these shows, on Brian's show, on other shows throughout the CF Pod network.
Yeah.
When you hear that, yeah, I'm throwing a little bombast out because I'm sitting with a friend of mine talking about football. And that's what you're supposed to do when you cheer for other teams. It's a rivalry thing. It's good-natured. It's lighthearted.
Yeah.
And, you know, for everybody except Balaneski, I think it really is an important... I couldn't even finish that sentence.
That's going at the start of the show.
I couldn't even finish that sentence. No, but for real, it's all about good-natured fun. And I think I don't take any of this too seriously. Yeah. I give it the weight it deserves in my life, which is that I'm incredibly passionate about the CFL. I'm a huge fan of the Calgary Stampeders. I love doing these podcasts. I love doing these shows. I love talking about what I'm passionate about. Mm-hmm. But I also know at the end of the day that if something came up, I'd lay down in the street for Brian. I'd lay down in the street for Andrew. Yeah. I'd lay down in the street for all of these people because we're friends that just happen to talk
fire trucker
about football. and so if you're out there, if you're listening and you're like, I can't equate equate
I don't understand.
Ryan, podcaster Ryan with BB Can Ryan. Those two things don't seem to match to me. Which guy is the real guy? Both of them are.
Yes.
Both of them are. It's about the bombast, but it comes from a place of love. And so, for me, being in the house and whenever I said nasty things about somebody, I love all of those people. And I like, even Kayla included. And I know what I said about Kayla.
Yes.
And I've known, and Kayla and I have had discussions about what she said about me.
Yes.
We're fine now because it was within the context of the game.
Yes.
And it didn't matter to us outside the game. Outside the game, we are not competing with one another, and so we're fine to be good with one another. Inside the context of the game, we talk
Fire trucker
because that's what we do. And it was my team against her team, just the teams were us as people.
Yes.
So it's the exact same thing like here, right?
Yeah.
My team versus your team. We will talk.
Fire trucker.
We didn't even get to talk about a 49-42 classic, by the way.
No, not really. No, we kind of glanced over it. Yes.
But again, like, it's my team versus your team.
Yeah.
And right. Yeah. It should have been 49-48.
No,
but again, couldn't squeeze those
42
ties.
was the perfect
squeeze those ties.
Perfect score. Yeah.
But I like that's what it is. That's what it is. It's a sense of community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And within the CFL community, I'm the guy I'm the loudmouth uncle. And all you have to do is just understand that I'm not trying to piss you off. I'm not trying to bring malice. It's all in fun. You want to poke fun at my team for not winning the Grey Cup the last 2 years? Great. No problem. Bring it. Yes. I encourage you to bring it.
Yes.
But understand that I am going to come back at you just as hard and if not harder, and understand that I don't mean it to make you upset because it's all about being fun.
That's right.
It's all about having fun. It's all about being fun. And I can't take any of this stuff seriously. And I think that's what I hope the show showed me as is the guy who, I don't take anything seriously because I think when you spread, if you're negative in your own life and you spread negativity within your own life and within your own circle, you breed more negativity.
Absolutely.
And I think if you're throwing out positive thoughts, if you throw out positive vibes, I predict my team's going to go 18-0 every year, not because I think they're going to.
Yeah.
Because of course they're not going to.
Yeah.
But why would I put out in the world that I want my team to lose a couple games and end up 15-3? I'm not going to do that. I want to put positivity into the world. And the more positivity, the more positivity you can put in the world, they'd still make the playoffs.
Yeah,
but the more positivity you can put in the world, the better the world is.
Absolutely.
And I think especially right now, everything is so divisive that everybody immediately assumes offense and assumes the meanest and assumes the worst of people. And I think if there's anything that I learned, especially from the Big Brother experience, it was that if you embrace negativity and you breed it within yourself about somebody else and about a different situation, then everything you see them doing, you're going to see with a negative connotation and a negative motivation.
Right.
If you don't do that and you choose to take people's actions positively, you're going to see them in a positive light and you're going to see them in a more welcoming light, and you're going to be able to disagree with them, in a way that you're not left angry and you're not left hating and you're not left spreading any of that stuff. So I think for me, it was a transformative experience to be in the house because I thought myself capable of being a long-term fire trucker. And I'm not. I'm very capable of doing it for an hour like we've done.
That's true, yes.
I'm very capable of handling this for an hour. But I'm not a long-term fire trucker. And I think that's why we get along, right?
Yeah,
because you understand, this is Ryan on the mic.
Yeah,
and Ryan on the mic is different from Ryan off the mic.
This is Ryan when we're playing Nintendo games.
Yeah.
He's destroying me.
Yeah,
That's fine. Then it's fine.
Look, you said Mario Kart, and
I did.
I warned you.
That was a bad mistake on my part. I agree. I admit that. Yeah.
But again, it's where you you pile it all together. And I think if you come from a place of love and you come from a place of optimism and you come from a place of happiness and you try and spread that in the world as much as you can, you're going to make the world a better place around you. And because I choose to live my life that way, my life around me is great. I've got a great family life. I've got a great work life. I've got fans across the league took into account the fact that I badmouth their team on a regular basis and still said, but we know Ryan loves the CFL more than anything outside of his family.
Yeah.
So we're going to vote to keep Ryan in the house.
Absolutely.
And we're going to rally support to keep Ryan in this game because we want someone like Ryan representing us as a CFL fan base.
Yeah.
The joy that brought me is a high that I still haven't come down on.
Wow.
Canada loved me more than the Newfie. And by the way, East Coasters don't lose polls.
No,
Period.
I know.
Period. Yeah. East Coasters don't lose polls anywhere, let alone on Big Brother. On Big Brother, East Coasters were undefeated.
Right.
And because of the CFL fan base and because of the MMA fan base and because of Canadians across the country, I won that poll outright. It wasn't of 3 options, I had the majority vote. And so for anybody out there that listens to this show that voted for me, thank you so much. For anybody that voted against me, thank you so much for watching because without the fans, this show doesn't come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's pretty much it. Live your life with positive intentions. Never assume the worst about anybody.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to live their life with their perspective, and the only perspective they have is their own.
Yeah.
And so you can't assume negative connotations about somebody in that way. You have to assume that they're coming from their experience, and you can't hate on somebody because of their own experiences. You can disagree with somebody, and you can do that in a way where you can offer your own opinion without being a dick about it.
Yeah.
And while I don't do that on this show, I encourage you to do so in your real life.
Now, okay, but you know what though? What you just said. And we saw that this weekend at the tailgate, and I do want to say, I want to set out a thank you to everybody that came. At our tailgate this week, we had probably 15 Calgary Stampeder fans. We had Eskimo fans that have come, and guys who have never come to the tailgate before showed up. We had BC Lions. We had Riders. We had the Commissioner. To me, it was just that moment, and I tried to capture that in that tweet, that this is, you want to know what we talk about when we say CFL family, and what you just said is that we all cheer for all these different teams, but when it all comes down to it, we know as people we would stick up for one another, and we're all at that together, having that moment before this big game, and it was really moving for me.
There was no game yesterday.
That was the good game.
No, yeah. I think they played
You're
on
confusing
Monday.
the 89 Grey Cup. Yesterday was a good game.
Right.
Yeah, okay, let's get that straight. Okay. Ryan, it's always awesome to have you here. Tell everybody, where do they find your stuff, and tell them about the MMA stuff coming up in Vegas, because this is so freaking cool. I'm so excited for you.
All right, so running down quickly, of course, you can find me on 3 Down Nation. Yes. Anything that says Ryan Ballantyne was written by me.
Okay.
Anything that is in the comment section that says Ryan Ballantyne was written by me. Anything in the comment section that does not say Ryan Ballantyne is not me.
Okay.
There were people who were accusing me of putting comments on the site while I was in the Big Brother house. It's like, no, I'm not. Not only am I not reading that site, I'm not reading any site. So it's clearly not me. So you can find me on 3 Down Nation. Of course, you can find us at CFL Horsemen.
Yes.
That is at CFL_Horsemen on Twitter. CFLHorsemen.ca is the website. Look for Horseman Radio on everywhere you find podcast apps, including Stitcher now.
Perfect.
I didn't know that we weren't on Stitcher, so we are on Stitcher now.
Nice.
So you can find us on iTunes and Google Play and all that stuff. So look for Horseman Radio there. You can follow me on Twitter at Podcaster Ryan, although that account is withering on the vine.
Okay.
Because I've been doing most of my stuff from my Big Brother account, which is at BBCan Ryan.
Okay.
So definitely follow me there, because that's where more of my stuff is coming up. And last but not least, of course, this Friday on the Fight Network, I will be calling fights from the Orleans Casino in Las Vegas.
Man, that's cool.
I'm going to be cage side for Fight Night, which is a Z Promotions show, and we will be live on the Fight Network coming up this Friday night. I believe the broadcast starts at 7 o'clock Mountain. So. But check us out. We're called Fight Night, and we've got a lot of up-and-coming fighters as well as some names you'll recognize from UFC past as guys are using this promotion to prove that they belong still in the UFC. I believe Cody McKenzie is on the show.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He fought in the Ultimate Fighter house and fought in the UFC for a while. So there's a lot of great fights on this card, and that's coming up this Friday. And again, if you're in Vegas at the Orleans Casino, definitely come by, say hello, let me know you listen to the show, give me an absolutely so that we know I'll know where we know you from. And hell, if you've got extra vacation time at the end of September, there's a Reality All-Stars reunion charity poker tournament happening at the Rio in Las Vegas at the last weekend of September, the 28th, 29th. You can come down and play poker with a bunch of actual reality stars and me. So you can come down and play poker. I think they've got 130 reality TV people from Bachelorette, The Challenge, Big Brother, Survivor, all kinds of different shows from all across North America. If there's a reality show, we've probably got a cast member from a season coming down, and that's at the end of September, so you can come down and check that out.
Wow, man, that is, you know what?
And now we've done the 10-minute plug
I was
section.
just going to say, because, so I have 3 plugs. I always got to mention, of course, if you're not already, check out United Construction Company at unitedconstruction.ca. They are the title sponsor for the Eskimo Empire podcast, and we thank them every week for everything that they do. Of course, follow Commissioner K at Duchess Lombardi. Follow Superfan Mike at 56 Parkies. You can follow me at Freepalicious, and of course, you can follow the show, eskempire.ca, our Twitter, our Facebook, our Instagram, all those things are all right there. So we are going to be back with a regular show with the whole gang right away. I'm really glad that we got this special episode in, though, and I'm really looking forward to hanging out more with you at Grey Cup, because I'm assuming you'll be here.
I will be here. The 3 Down Nation staff will be descending upon Edmonton en masse.
All right.
And now that I am a part of that group, I will be attending all of those kind of parties and rubbing shoulders with the rest of my podcast friends.
Wonderful.
All week, and I can't wait. I bet Edmonton's going to throw a heck of a party, and then
a great show. Yeah.
And then 12 months later, Calgary will do it 2 1/3 times better.
Yeah. No.
Callback jokes.
But I will be at both. All right. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you to everyone for listening. Check us out where you can and spread the word. And remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely talk to you later this week.
Thanks for listening. Find more great shows like this at CF Pod Network on Twitter.